and the peasants died in droves.
People lived in extreme poverty, and they lived in huts with thatched roofs. They had livestock living in very close association with them. They had dirt floors to the huts. The living conditions were absolutely filthy. The types of environments where you'd expect rats and rat fleas to proliferate and do quite well.
As conditions worsen, the church seems to fail its flock. Fearing contamination, some priests refuse to administer last rites to the dying. For many medieval people, to die without last rites is a more terrifying prospect than death itself. But as the death toll mounts and more priests succumb to the plague, the Bishop of Bath and Wells makes a startling suggestion.
If they are on the point of death and cannot secure the services of a priest, then they should make confession to each other, to a layman, or, if no man is present, even to a woman.
In these grim days, many abandon old loyalties for the sake of survival. Not even family ties can bind the healthy to the sick, as one of the great writers of the age, Giovanni Boccaccio, witnesses.
Relatives were cared for, not otherwise than dogs. They threw them their food and drink by the bed, and then they fled the household.
One person would get sick first, the family might start to take care of them, maybe friends would come and help, but then others in the family would get sick, and you can imagine that very quickly people would abandon any attempt to help each other.
When you have every third person dying, this of course is going to affect people's outlook and mentality. One of the responses would be fear. Am I going to be next? Is the plague going to strike me? Can I get the plague even from my father, my brother, my sister?
The lack of compassion appalls Agnolo di Tura, a citizen of Siena.
Father abandoned child, wife, husband, one brother, another. For this illness seemed to strike through breath and sight. And so they died.
The death rates were so high that basically people's faith was shocked or rocked to the core. Many of the teachings they'd been given by the church didn't seem to give them any comfort or seem to be applicable to the situation. Everyone was dying. It didn't seem to make any sense.
The fabric of medieval society is being torn apart. People begin to turn to extremists for answers.
This was God's vengeance on humans for their wickedness and sin. What better way to respond to that than by an extraordinary penance that would take away that sin?
Their origins are obscure and legendary. Religious zealots who whip themselves mercilessly to atone for the world's sins. Their fanaticism will lead the crowds further into hysteria, persecution, and mass murder. By 1348, the Black Death has traveled from Sicily to England, carried in trade ships aboard the backs of rats. Already it has claimed the lives of millions. In each, at every farm, the corpses pile up in staggering numbers. Communities face a new crisis: how to dispose of the dead.
If you lose 10% of 95,000 people, that's 10,000 people. How do you bury 10,000 people that have been lost in a very short period of time? Where do you find the people to take them? Where do you find the people where do you find the carts to take them?
The only people who were willing to carry away the dead were these very rustic, uncouth